We're here with the Horse Racing Authority in Kentucky, Jenny Reeves from the Courier Journal. First of all, Jenny, thanks for joining us. We're honored to have you here.
Sure, Chip.
Now, a lot of people are saying that this is one of the more wide open Derby fields in recent memory. Tell me how you size things up. I've asked 8 or 9 different people and gotten several different answers. How do you talk about the open field and how competitive the field is in general?
Sure. No, it is wide open. Every year the Derby is wide open. We just, whether we know it going in or not. But what is appealing about this Derby to me is these horses have been very consistent, say the top, 2/3 or so of the field, that they might get beat, but they run well. And so you've got a bunch of really horses in great form coming in. Like some years, maybe they've been in and out, and so you don't know if they're going to come with their A game or not. But this field, and the stat I'm sure a lot of people have quoted to you, is 9 out of the 13 horses that squared off in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile here last fall are back in this race, and that's just unbelievable. Let's start with Champion Hanson that won the Juvenile. The last time a Juvenile winner made the Derby was 2007, and that was Street Sense, and he won the Kentucky Derby. But of those 9, 8 have won already this year at graded stakes race, which is horse racing designated as their best races, and the year's not even a third over. So what it says to me is not only are these very good horses, but they're resilient, because there's really usually a lot of collateral damage between the Juvenile and the Breeders' Cup. Usually you might only have, say, 3 horses or less that make both races. But I think the other thing is these horses are bred to go longer distances. There's some good young sires on the scene like Bernardini and Flower Alley, and I think that these horses are actually, they're really legitimate Derby horses. I think we have a lot to look forward to the rest of the year.
Bodemeister is currently the favorite. What do you think of that horse? Favorites don't always mean a whole lot, but what have you seen from Bodemeister to this point?
Well, he looked very good working. He's got beautiful pedigree for a mile and a quarter. I'm taking a stand against him. I'm throwing him out because I think he either wins or he doesn't hit the board. I believe for all the so-called Derby rules that have gone out the window the last few years, the one that is held up is the unraced 2-year-old. You go to 1882 Apollo, the only horse that didn't race at 2 that won the Derby. And I just think for Bodemeister, has raced only 4 times, and I just think he's going to be up against it, because there's going to be a lot of other speeds. I think there's years he could do it, but I think this isn't the year. You've got with Hanson, you've got really quality speed, and Triniberg, who's a superb sprinter in there. There's going to be a pace scenario. As much as I love Hanson, and he's got all these Louisville connections about him, but I think, it's going to be hard for him to win, again, because of Bodemeister. I think it's going to set it up for a mid-pack or a closer.
So who do you like? I mean, when you sit down tomorrow and fill out your sheet, what are your top 3?
Well, I don't have a lot of conviction in this, but since I'm forced to pick, I'm going with Take Charge Indy, who
Calvin
Burrell, which is kind of hard for me to think that anybody can win 4 Derbies in 6 years, but if anybody can do it, it's Calvin. He loves this horse. I saw him this morning coming off the track. He's been galloping the horse for trainer Pat Byrne here. The horse is a handful. He looks good. He's by AP Indy out of a multiple Grade 1 winner, Take Charge Lady, and he has he's been in good form. He won the Florida Derby. He won it on the lead, and a lot of people think he's going to be part of the pace scenario. I don't think he will. Calvin thinks he'll be 8 or 10 lengths off. That actually, it'll be a good thing for him having some speed in there, because maybe he'll really get to run the kind of race that he wants to run.
And tell me, you've been covering the Derby since '84. There's so many different memories, but is there 1 or 2 that maybe sticks out above any other? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but you think of a couple of your favorite Derby memories?
Well, one I got to say was back in 1992, 20 years ago, when Pat Day, the all-time win leader at Churchill Downs, holds almost every record here, won what would prove his only Kentucky Derby, and he won for a local trainer, Lynn Whiting. Now, I also got to say, that was one of the few Derby picks I've actually had accurate. Right. He was like 16-1 here in the wagering because everybody was betting Pat Day. But at the time, there was this French 2-year-old, Arazi, that was getting all the attention. He'd been the champion. When they didn't combine all the betting back then. So in both California and the New York markets, Lily T was 50-1. And when my picks appeared in USA Today, I couldn't believe this before email or anything. letters I got from people that said they saw my pick Lily T and they bet, and some guy from Alaska who had just had like heart surgery or something, and somehow he got down on a bet in Washington State or something like that, and he said just because you thought if I had the guts to pick that horse, and he got $100 mutual. So yeah, that was certainly at the top of the list, and certainly in '86 when Charlie Whittingham and Bill Shoemaker combined to win with Ferdinand, that was a great Derby. But I've got a the way I view the Derby is some derbies are better than others, but there's no such thing as a bad Kentucky Derby.
Well, Jenny, thanks a lot for your time. Good. Hope you cash some winning tickets this weekend. We certainly appreciate your expertise. Thank you.
Same at you too.
All right. We're here with Lane Gold, who I've seen Lane many times up here in Churchill Downs, been around a long time, knows what he's talking about, hosts a weekly radio show on WKJK. Lane, thanks for joining us, man.
Happy to be here.
Tell me, I mean, you hear a lot of people say this is one of the more wide open fields in years. How do you see? Do you agree with that assessment? How do you see things shaping up tomorrow?
Yeah, it's wide open as could be. You certainly got not only 20 horses, you have a favorite who's only 4-1, and Bodemeister is a good horse, but he's unproven. He only has 4 starts in his life, did not run as a 2-year-old, and because of that, he may be a little, that inexperience is an issue, has been for a long time. No horse has won without running as a 2-year-old, I think, in 100+ years. Same thing as only having 4 lifetime starts. So because of that, it's a lot of things against him. But it is Bob Baffert. He has won this race. He knows what it takes to win the Derby. And Mike Smith, his jockey, is a Hall of Famer. So good arguments for and against him. But if you want to beat the favorite, I think he's pretty beatable.
Jamal is just a horse that's unbeaten. Now, why are so many people? I mean, he still got good odds, but you think a horse that's never lost. What is it about Jamal just that might have people a little antsy? I mean, it seems like.
I'm surprised he's not getting more attention. He's unbeaten, and you don't get. There's only been 22 horses ever in the Derby that have been unbeaten, and seven of them have won. So certainly, they've been somewhat successful. But I think because he came out of the Wood Memorial and people were downplaying the race, and sometimes the race, that was a month ago. So if the race was maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, maybe people would remember it. But he's kind of gone under the radar. So if you like a horse who's never lost, and if you watch the replay of the Wood Memorial, you'll watch that stretch run when he turns and Alpha comes right at him. Alpha gets to his neck, and then he comes back and fights on and pulls away again. That's usually a sign of a horse who's pretty good. So, again, doesn't mean he's a great horse, but shows he had something. He dug down deep and found something to turn back Alpha.
Union Rags is another horse. You talk to a lot of people. I've had a lot of people in this week giving their takes, and I hear Union Rags' name come up a lot. What's your assessment of that horse?
Well, he's got a lot of ability. He grew up quite a bit since he won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile here last year. He's, again, big in stature, and I think people aren't sure what to make of him because he didn't run so well in Florida. Ran third in the Florida Derby behind Take Charge Indy. People may be jumping off his bandwagon, but let's remember he's very, very talented. He lost the Breeders' Cup here, but lost it by this much to Hansen. He still has a ton of ability. And the Derby's always about what kind of race and trip you get. If the jockey is able to have a clean trip and no trouble, he could be successful. And he has the number 4 pose position. If he's able to stay inside and the key is not getting in trouble early on because the gate opens, horses slide left, slide right. Able to find a good position, he may be in a real good spot as they come around that far turn for the final time. He's got a ton of ability, and he may have no excuse because he could be right inside at the crucial time.
What is there a horse? For people looking to make money, people love to look for long shots, even 15, 20 to 1, something to make money. Is there a couple horses that you see that could be big money makers tomorrow?
Yeah, in the Derby, you can look at a horse named, maybe Daddy Knows Best is a horse.
I've been hearing a lot about that horse.
He's a big closer, so there should be a lot of pace up front. Trinenberg, Bodemeister, Hansen should be up, pressing the early pace, creating a fast early scenario for horses coming off from the back. Daddy Knows Best is a horse that's going to come from the back. He likes Churchill Downs. He trains here quite a bit. He'll be 15, 20 to 1. He's won a couple in a row, and he came out of the race at Mind That Bird one a few years ago. So certainly one that's keep in mind. The other one is Take Charge Indy, trained by Pat Byrne. He used to be a really big trainer here in Churchill Downs and had a bit of a dip for a while. Has come back now. This horse, his parents were both great horses. AP Indy, his dad, his mom, Take Charge Lady, both very successful. And Calvin Burrell, you expect going to be on the inside. And again, just like Union Rags, those two may be together moving on the inside, and Take Charge Indy should be also a pretty good price.
Dwayne Lucas, he's in the Derby, close to a record. He's got a long shot. Any chance we hear any noise out of Dwayne tomorrow?
I wouldn't say it's likely. There's a reason he was for a long time not in the body of 20. He got in after a couple horses dropped out. He's going to be closing really late with a Dullahan or with a Daddy Knows Best. Again, some ability, but he's only had one good race this year. That was a fourth place. He's got to show us more than just that.